Hello, everyone. Welcome this evening to join us, the Astronomical Society of Penang, in our monthly Astro Chat. And this evening, it'll be a chat with Michael Teoh. We do have just kind of like a reminder that if you haven't liked and subscribed our YouTube page and Facebook page, please do so. This will really help us gain more support and followers that can help us expand. Okay, and there's also, let me share my window really quickly. The Astronomical Society of Penang does have a website. Okay, if you haven't found out, it is new, so maybe it's not very well known yet. But if you're watching right now, please go to this page and add it to your bookmarks because there's a lot of exciting stuff on this website. Okay, Astronomical Society of Penang. We have our latest events, stuff for sale on our Shopee store. Okay, of course, notice of all the events, astrophotography contests, and of course here that's an evening with Michael Teoh. That's what's happening right now. Okay, and there's also other astronomical related news. We have a What's Up in the Sky. We have a members gallery, which there'll be a lot of beautiful pictures from our members. For instance, this picture by Kenny Lowe here, or Michael Teoh himself, a full lunar mosaic taken by our Michael Teoh, which we are interviewing tonight. So, without further ado, okay, let us have Michael Teoh. So, Michael is the money man, the treasurer of the Astronomical Society of Penang. Okay, and but behind his like very quiet demeanor, first time I met him was looking for a comet in Penang, one of the beaches in Penang, and I find that his passion for astronomy is not less than mine. In fact, probably even more. So I truly appreciate his astronomy passion, and I think that uh, he'll be a very good person to kind of learn from in terms of astronomical knowledge, and also how does one pursue the hobby of astronomy. Okay, so welcome, Michael. Good evening. How are you?
Good evening, Dr. Derek. I'm fine.
Yes, good. So, are you ready for the interview?
Yeah, okay.
Looking for answers.
I've
Could
been
be yes,
nervous.
right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm hiding behind the screen.
Yes. You're always hiding behind the scenes. So this time I am kind of thinking that we need to pull you out from behind the scene and at least let everyone see. So I think behind the scenes, we gotta explain a bit like everyone, all the events that online events that we run. Michael is mainly the person who is in charge of all the streaming and setting up all the multimedia and everything, and even our What's Up in the Sky videos are done by Michael, and um, a lot of the media stuff that we put out. So, but anyways, let's transition now to our interview. So, Michael, how about we start off with like the usual, right? I like to always start with how does a person got themselves involved in this hobby of astronomy. So, would you like to, start there? Let the audience know, like, how did you get into astronomy?
Okay, so let me share my screen.
Okay.
Okay, so the story begins 26 years ago. Okay, it was my 1995. It all started with these few dots of light on what you see on screen. Do you know what is this? I guess you know. I bet many of the audience should know. Okay, so this is what we know today as the Orion constellation. But back in 1995, actually that time I was in Form 3. I was on Form 3 and I was in the morning session of the school. Okay, so every morning I wake up about 5 something, 6 something, have my breakfast, and then I just wait for the school bus in front of my house. Okay, it was very dark, okay, back then. So while I was waiting for the school bus, sometimes I would just look up to the skies and I noticed these things in the skies. Okay, this kind of point of a light in the sky. So back then, I actually didn't know about astronomy at all. I didn't know, but I think back in my time, I'm not sure about the primary school syllabus. Okay, I can recall the primary school syllabus, but what I can remember is the secondary school syllabus. We only learn about astronomy in Form 3, exactly at the same year as the same year where I started. So I will still remember it was a science subject. It should be the first, no, not first unit, it should be the second or third unit where we learn about the solar system and all that. I'm not sure whether we learn about stars. It was very limited back then.
Yeah.
Okay, so as I check back the time, okay, where on that year, where we can see Orion at that time that I can recall, it should be around mid-year, like August, October. So when I was waiting for the school bus, I look up, I see these kind of things, this dot in the skies. I don't really know what they are. Okay, I don't know what is stars. Yeah, of course, we generally we know what is stars. We know stars in the skies, but I don't know about constellation. I don't know about planets. I don't know about nebula. All this I don't know. I just know that general public people we know. Okay, there are stars in the skies. Okay, so but this thing, okay, even though today we know it's the Orion Nebula, Orion constellation, but back then, when I look at this thing, it actually looks like a crab to me. It actually looks like a crab to me. I always wonder, hey, what is this big crab thing in the skies? It looks like a crab, horizontal
You,
orientation.
you
Yeah,
must be hungry when you
I'm
look
not
at
sure, but,
stars.
but instinctively, when I look at this, I actually related it to a crab instead of anything else. Like maybe ancient people, they have a better imagination, like imagine it to be a hunter and all that. Okay, so
Yeah, yeah,
but
but the
yeah,
orientation of it, doesn't it? Like,
it
I mean,
matter.
it's
Yeah,
yeah,
that's why
it always
for the
rise like that.
for people in
Yeah.
the northern hemisphere, maybe they look at it differently when it
Mm,
rises. But for
yeah.
us, most of the time we look at it like rising from the east or setting to the west. It looks horizontal like this. So the first thing that comes into my mind is look like a crab. Okay, but of course now today we know that we should like tilt it 90 degrees so that it looks like a hunter.
Mm, right.
Okay,
Interesting.
so when I started to get curious about this star in the sky, so I started to wonder, hey, what are they? Why do they look the same every night? Of course, now we know it's not same, but to general people, actually even today, there are still people that assume that all the stars in the sky they are always the same every day. Okay, so it's the same question for me back then. So I was wondering why I every morning I can see these things in the sky when I was waiting for the school bus. So I try to find answer. I found answer. But unfortunately, back then it was like 90s, right? Late 90s. There was no people talking about astronomy. I was from Ipoh. Yeah, I was born in and grew up in Ipoh.
Oh,
So
right.
back then in Ipoh, they were basically among my friends, among my classmates, my schoolmates, my tuition friends, like my play pals, um, there's no one talking about astronomy. No one is interested in astronomy, okay, in the school, outside, neighborhood. Okay, and I don't even remember there is any astronomy activities in Ipoh, okay, even though it's considered one of a big city in Malaysia. Okay, so it's very difficult for me to find answer, okay, to this kind of question. Okay, what is these things in the sky? So what I do is I'll go to the library. Okay, the first thing is I go to the library, but unfortunately, my school library is not really big, not a lot, not many books, so I don't find a single book on astronomy in my school library. So that is how bad was it, it was back then. So, but luckily there is a public library just walking distance from my school, just
Mm.
walking distance from my school. So after I failed to find the answer in my school, I go to this public library. I did manage to find some books, but those are very actually not quite few. Actually, I think there is at least 10 or 20 books I can find on astronomy topics, but those books are very old. So most are published in the 80s. So that means those books are like at least 10 years old, and more than 10 years old. But still, basically, we know that for general knowledge of astronomy, they never get old, right? For beginner
Yeah.
knowledge, so I managed to like read a bit about stars, planets, constellation, and all that. Yeah, so the more I read, okay, I read about like those stories, the folklores about constellation or the stories things. So I started to get interested. So I somehow get very interested into astronomy. So that I decided that I want to be an astronomer in the future. But
What
actually,
what was what was your favorite folklore in astronomy
uh,
though?
I think of course if today you ask me to pick one immediate folklore, I would talk
Uh-huh.
about the Vega and Altair, which is
Oh yeah,
related to our Chinese tradition, the
right,
Qixi,
right.
right, the Niu Lang and Zhi. So that is very quite related to our Chinese culture. Then later on, of
Yeah,
course, I learned about the Orion and the Scorpio things,
right, right.
right? The big bear, why the bear has a long tail, we didn't know. Yeah. So back then I kind of like get so interested into this that I decided to want to be a astronomer in the futures, despite the lack of knowledge, the lack of like surrounding these cultures in the city I live in. But still, actually it's kind of fun when you think about it, because usually when we really delve deep into a hobby, usually we like for example, before you want to be an engineer, you must have a great interest or know something about engineering, right? But actually back then I know very 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 little about astronomy, very very little. But somehow that is enough to like urge me to become to hope to become an astronomer. Okay, so when I enter the second year of high school, like the Form 4, so we choose our study whether it's an art stream or science stream. So I end up entering the science stream. But I think most of the time back then, most parents they will hope the kids to go into science stream because you hope people to become doctor, lawyer, engineers, like high earning occupation. Yeah, and my sister was also in science stream. My elder and second sister was in art stream, but my younger sister, not youngest, my third elder sister was in science stream. So I was also end up in the science stream. So I started to get very interested into learning like physics, mathematics, and all this because I started to develop how to say the curiosity to ask why, to seek for answer explanation, like for example why the stars are in the sky, why they look like that, why they are fixed. So I started to get into this habit of asking why. So I kind of um, get the kind of satisfaction by studying physics, because physics is the science that explains things. Yeah, so basically throughout my Form 4, Form 5, I can say I do quite well in physics and mathematics. And then come the Form
Uh,
5.
can I
Yeah,
ask you something? So how did it feel? Like
sure.
I'm assuming from what you say, like you're pretty much the only person interested in astronomy in your high school. So how does
Yes,
it feel for
yes,
you?
I
Yeah,
know.
how what does it feel like, for instance? Like,
Actually, I didn't feel anything bad then. I didn't feel like, oh, I'm the lone person, I'm the odd one, I'm the strange one. Actually, I didn't feel anything like that. But
mm,
I also didn't feel like I'm special. Yeah, I'm the only one who like astronomy. Everybody else don't know astronomy. I'm the one only know. But no, I don't feel anything special about it.
okay,
It's just that
that's nice.
yeah.
Yeah.
Also I like it, and then I decided to pursue further into it. Yeah, so that's the path that I have chosen for myself. Yeah, even I think I did mention, because when during our school time we have filled in our last notes like our ambitious,
Mhm.
our ambition, right? What we want to do. We have the three options what you want to be when you grow up. Yeah, so actually starting from Form 3 onwards. Earlier than that, my first choice was to be a police, but basically starting from trees, my first choice is to be a scientist. I didn't specifically say astronomer, but I
Mhm.
want to be a scientist, then second to be a teacher, then third to be something else. I forgot about it. Yeah, so I started to like change my path towards science, okay,
Right.
towards science. So I want to be a
Interesting.
scientist, especially in this astronomy. So when it come to Form 5, when we are going to graduate soon, so as usual, most people, they are going to think about their future, what they want to do, what's the next step for you. So I start to think about aim. So what should I do? What is the next step for me if I want to be an astronomer in the future? So I go to my school teachers. I think I go to my maths and my physics teachers. I'm quite have a good relationship with them. So I seek for their advice. So back then the opportunity was not a lot. Okay, so they will say advice that if you can afford, you go direct overseas or you go to college, then you enter the university. But back then, basically the financial situation was can never allow me for that. And then I forgot from where I heard about this Macy. Okay, it's actually Malaysian American Commission on Education Exchange. So this commission or say organization, they actually do this kind of thing like student exchange. They arrange a Malaysian student to study in US or an US student come to Malaysia. So I forgot whether I heard this from a friend or from a teacher. I'm not sure. So when I first known about this, so I think this might be a chance for me to like maybe get a scholarship or something to go overseas. But the problem is back then it was 1997. In 1997, the internet has just come in. Has just come in. We don't have the convenience like today. You can just easily Google anything. Yeah, so back then, even though I know about this Macy, I say, how am I going to know anything about them? Right? So I know most of the time, these all kind of organizations, they are based in KL. So it's no way that I'm going to go out and to seek for their advice. So it so happened that one of my friends, my classmate, he's quite computer literated. So he has a computer at home, and also he happens to have internet at home. So during one of the day after school, okay, I went to his house. I used a very, very slow dial up back then. Yeah, okay, search for Macy. The information is not even very graphical. I think mainly 99% is text, okay, on the website. So I printed out all the information, the contact and address and all that. So I go back, okay, I thank him and go back and just look at it. So what do I do next? Okay, but after like studying the possibility, so I still think that it's still quite a burden for me. Yeah, because I'm not sure whether my result is good enough to get a scholarship back then. So, and of course, I cannot afford to go by my own capability. So I decided to stay in Malaysia. So further my study in go into Form 6. Okay, go into Form 6. It's basically the same story. So I choose the science stream. I go for back then we only have 5 subjects. We have 5 subjects. We have the pengajian arm, then we have chemistry, physics. Then I choose the double max. I think the four compulsory subject, then one optional. So the optional one, the fifth one, I go for double max because I know that max is very important, okay, to be a physicist or to be an astronomer. So I choose for double max. So I study, but unfortunately, during the first year of my lower 6, I still do quite well. Relatively, I still do quite well. But come to the upper 6, I get my first knockout hit. Pom, is the electronic paper. Because during the upper 6, we have this electronic paper, and that is my weakest subject in physics. So my upper 6 result go all the way straight down because of this electronic paper. So again, when during the end of upper 6, when we want to choose to go to university, actually my STPM result was not good. My SPM result was rather good, okay, but my STPM result was not good at all. So I even doubt whether I can get into university with that kind of result. Okay, I was very worried. Okay, I think, oh my God, my dream is going to be shattered because of this upper 6 nightmare. Okay, so but anyhow, okay, so we applied for the university. Okay, I think still today still same. We go through this UPU. system. Yeah, I think it's called differently. It's still called today UPU, but I think the full name is different today. So that is basically a platform where we fill in the form, we choose what kind of course we want. So the problem now is with my terrible STPM result. So if I want to go to science stream to study physics, it become like a mission impossible. I know very clearly it's a mission impossible. Okay, because back then, if you want to like go into this science stream or like to be a lawyer, doctor, engineer, all that, your result have to be very, very, very good, tip top good. Okay, and it's very common that people, I think most people, at least like maybe 80% or even 90% of people, they don't really get the course that they want. So back then we can only choose 5 courses. We can only choose 5 courses. We have only 5 options. I think today, later they have 7. I think today they have 10, if I'm not mistaken. But back in my day, there are only 5 options to choose. So as I understand, most people, they do not get even one of the course. So either they get the university but different course, or they get the course but different university. So now the problem is, how am I going to get into university with my terrible result? So I come up with one like final bet. Okay, this is my final bet. This is what I do. Okay, this is a strategy. So we have 5 options. So I study. I go and find out what university offer what kind of course. Okay, back then there is no astronomy course in Malaysia, 1999. There is no bachelor degree in astronomy, not in UM, not in USM, no. Okay, so the only choice I can go for is physics. Okay, so the same actually before my graduate, I look for my physics teacher or my Form 6 physics teacher. So I asked the same question. So what should I do next step? So he said, you go for physics. You go for physics, get your foundation done. Yeah, then from there, either you go overseas or you continue local. Yeah, so I choose physics. So this is my strategy. Option 1, UN physics, USM physics, UKM physics, UPM physics. But there's only 4. There are only 4 universities that offer physics. Yeah, I think there are only like 6 or 7 universities back then. Okay, so number 5, I have no choice. I say, okay, consolation prize. If I cannot get physics, I go for aerospace engineering. Still something related to astronomy. Yeah. So this is what I fill up in the form. I just go for it, post it, don't care. I don't care whether I get it or not. I know very clearly that 99.9999% of the chances I won't get. I'm quite sure I won't get because of the result, and then because of the competitiveness of the courses. Usually that time, yeah, we don't really have much option. But when the UPU result is announced, I kena lottery. My second choice, USM physics. You cannot imagine how happy I was. You know, to me, it feels like it's more difficult than you get the lottery, you know, you get the jackpot. To me, it feels like, because imagine like I say that time, almost 90% of people, they don't get the choice that they want. They don't get the course they choose for. So with my result and with this kind of course that I'm applying for, it's very, very, very unlikely that I'm going to get even the 5th choice. But I end up getting the 2nd choice, exact university, exact course. So it's become like a big dream come true. Actually, even I get UPN, I will be very happy. Even I get the aerospace, I will be happy enough. But I get the 2nd choice. Even my sister, my friend, they cannot believe I can get USM physics. But of course, later when I enter, I know why I get it. Okay, because USM physics is very difficult. There are not many people they are willing to choose for USM physics course. So I believe that is one of the factors where they accept me. So if you want to come, you come. If you dare to come, you come. I believe so. Yeah, because during our orientation week, we were briefed by our dean saying that okay, our course is actually the lowest passing rate, the least number of students, the most students who extend, the most students who fail, all kind of terrible like warning to us. So anyway, I'm here. I'm here.
By the way, our buddy William Chin is saying that his STPM is not good, but he got into physics anyway.
Yeah, I mean, maybe for the same reason. Because
think about it. I mean, like could have, if you ended up in physics and meeting with William, it would be such a different,
Yes.
path as
Anything
opposed
that
to
happened
USM.
along the way will open up a
Right.
different path.
This is like such a profound moment. I think when I saw William's comment, I said, wow, it would be fascinating to have you and William in the same
Because
university.
actually even after that, okay, when sometime we meet up with our old friends, we ask, hey, what do you study? I say I study physics. What? You study physics? Are you mad? I hate physics the most. Actually, most people, even those in the science stream, most people they hate physics the most. Among physics, chemistry, and biology, physics is the most hated subject, more hated science subject. So, are you crazy? Are you mad? Why do you want to study physics? I say because I like it. Because I like it. Yeah. So
Alex Un also says the same thing. The SPM good, STPM not good. And he went to USM for applied physics.
first choice. Wow.
His first choice. So he got it. But
Yeah.
Alex is a very smart guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's very smart. I don't know, but he said STPM not good. So I know I might fail my STPM maybe.
Yeah, there's a very big hurdle back then for SCPM, even for usually Chinese, a lot of people they didn't do well in STPM, so it's a very difficult choice. But somehow I survived.
Right.
And somehow I'm so lucky to get the choice of my course. So
Yes, and we shall see that it actually decides something in the future, right, for you.
yes, this is one of the, I would say this is the first turning point of my whole journey in astronomy. So that is that.
Yes.
Imagine if I was accepted into a different course, so that would be a different stories, totally different stories. I may be able to still pursue interest in astronomy, but the path may be most likely will be totally different. I may not be meeting all the people I have met along the way. Yeah, who knows? I may end up in and know William sooner. Yeah, but never know. Or I end up in Sabah or Sarawak. No one knows. Okay.
But there are people that do want to emphasize their dislike for physics too. Anywho. I mean, physics. But anyways, continue. So what happened when you
get so when I go into USM, of course I'm very excited. Okay, and I immediately actually I'm not sure whether I know immediately there's an astronomy club in USM. I'm not sure. But somehow during the orientation week, after the orientation week, usually we have all this society and club. They have all this show, getting new members to join them. So instead of going into the astronomy club, I somehow ended joining the Persatuan Bahasa Tionghoa. It's the Chinese Language Society. So don't ask me why. I cannot explain.
I think I can.
Actually, I more or less I can explain. Okay, because during my high school, my Form 4, Form 5, up to my Form 6, because back then we don't have astronomy club. We only have science club. Like those guys are doing general science things. So I was actually in Chinese Language Society in my Form 4, Form 5, Form 6. During the 4 year of my high school, I was very active in Chinese Language Society because I like the Chinese literature, the Chinese these cultures and all that. So immediately when I come into USM, so I come across this booth like this show by this Chinese Language Society. Of course, immediately I feel like how to say, it feel how's the word I say? It feel comfortable for me to join them because that is what I've been doing for the past 4 years. Okay, so and then so I actually ended up joining the PPT, okay, but it's still a mystery why I didn't join USM Astro at the same time. I could have joined USM Astro at the same time, but I didn't. Yeah, so basically, during my, because you imagine after so many years, like the past since Form 3, Form 4, Form 5, Form 6, after the last 5 years, I was so determined to be an astronomer. So suppose I would have immediately delved into the world of astronomy when I entered the university. But like I said, I cannot explain why I didn't. So basically during
usually what happens with all these societies is there's more attractive members.
Okay, that one I have no comment. I have no comment. No comment on that.
William is saying he knows why.
Yeah, probably one of the factors. Okay.
Yeah,
So
yeah. So okay.
quiet. No comment on that.
All
Okay,
right.
but anyway, basically during the first 2.5 years, I was like I spent most of my time other than my study. I basically spent almost 90% of my time into this PPT society. Very very little on astronomy. Actually, there is one of my classmates, a good friend, a very best friend of me, classmate. So he is actually a member of the astronomy club. So he actually have invited us, a few of us, a gang of us, to attend the astronomy activity back then. So I still remember in 2002, should be 2002, during the second year. So there was this outbreak of this Orionid meteor shower. Sorry,
Unit, yeah.
Leonid meteor shower. Okay, back then we were observing in the Pusat Racun Negara. Okay, we are still yet to shift to the this Padang Kawat. So we were observing in this Pusat Racun Negara. My friend showed me the star chart and all that. Okay,
Where was it
and
again?
2002, if I remember, it's
No, no, where
2002. I'm quite sure
2000,
it's my second year.
2001 maybe, right? 2002 was plagued by a full moon or something.
I'm
But
not
anyway,
sure.
I want to know where again. You mentioned
USM is inside USM. One of
Oh, it's
the
inside
one yeah,
USM.
one of the old place where the astronomy club they do conduct their activity, the weekly stargazing.
Oh,
It's
okay.
called the Pusat Racun Negara near the chemistry school and the biology schools.
Okay.
So that night, actually, that was my first time observing a meteor shower, and it's a very very grand one. Okay, there was an outburst that year. I think the year before also there is an outburst. 2001 also there was an outburst. So that night, I think there are at least a few hundred people at the place. So we saw a lot of fireballs, really a lot of fireballs. I think there are at least like dozens, maybe hundreds of fireballs throughout the night. So I remember very clearly. I see two very bright and long fireball streak across the sky, covering like at least 120 degrees or so in parallel. Two fireball move in parallel. Both are long and bright.
Wow.
So that was amazing night. So amazing
Yes.
night. But somehow it's still not amazing enough to lure me to join the society. To
The
club.
girls must be very pretty in that Chinese association.
I am not sure. I don't want to
Okay,
answer
let's not
that.
mention about that. Okay,
Okay,
let's
so
move on.
yeah, so yeah, actually, it's a puzzle to me. Like even with my sole determination of interest in astronomy, I wanted ambitions to be an astronomer. Even after such a magnificent nights of Leonis, I'm still stay with the PPT instead of joining the astronomy club. And then let me check. So it was not until my final year, okay, my third year, because for this PPT society, most of the time we start to retire during the third year. So we let the younger generation, the first year, second year, they are more active in organization. So during the last year that I'm actually have a little bit more free time, it was not until then that I started to look for this astronomy club, okay, to join their activities. So it was when I start to learn all these old members, like you can see here, Chicken, a very young Chicken here. I think that time it was like
Oh,
20
yeah.
something, or maybe before less than 30 years old. We have a young Ben here, okay, Benjamin. I think that time he was like maybe secondary school or not sure. Yeah, this is his mom. And then in the middle here, we have Siva. Okay, we have Siva here. And then we have on the right here, we have Ashraf. Okay, Ashraf, he has been following Dr. Chong for many years, if not mistaken, since his primary school times. So he's also one of the hardcore members. Okay. So it was during like 2003 where I started to get into really get into astronomy, like started to get back on the track where I supposed to be on. Okay, now the problem is, I think I didn't. Let me check my slide. Okay, so let me check again. Okay, so as usual during our final year back then our course is only 3 years. So during the last year we have to choose our final year project. Okay, so since I started to get into this astronomy, so I was thinking, okay, maybe it's time for me to like get back to my track towards becoming an astronomer. So I go and check. I think back then I already know about Dr. Chong because I think he taught me 2 or 3 papers during the second year and third year. I think it's on optics and another, I forgot what is the subject. So I actually know about Dr. Chong. I know about Astronomy Club. Okay, I know he's very good in astronomy. But when I look at the academic staff in the School of Physics, Dr. Chong he's not actually major in physics. He's not major in astronomy. So he was major in solid state physics. So back then, the whole physics school, all the lecturer in the physics school, there are only 2 who are major in astronomy. Okay, one is Professor Muhammad Ilyas, and another one is Professor Abdul Halim. Okay, so I go to look for them. Okay, maybe to approach them and see whether I can do a final project in astronomy under them. But sadly, I've been knocking on their door for multiple times. I visit them, I think 10, 20 times, but I can never meet them. Okay, and then eventually I find out this Professor Muhammad Ilyas, I think he was on sabbatical leave. So the only one left was Professor Abdul Halim. So I think I eventually managed to meet him once, okay, but I somehow didn't end up doing the final project with him. So I end up actually my final project is totally nothing to do with astronomy. My final project was on medical physics things. Yeah, so that's how it ended up. Even though during the last year I finally get into astronomy, but still my final project I didn't manage to do anything related to astronomy. So, but anyway, so I continue to join Dr. Chong with their activities while I continue my final year studies. So here comes the good news, because usually during the end of semester there will be announcement. We need to like fill in, apply for what we want to take, what course we want to take during the next semester, the upcoming semester. So like I say before I enter university, so I know that there's no astronomy course in Malaysia. There's no astronomy course in Malaysia. So this news comes during the before semester ended. They are going to introduce elective paper in astronomy. I forgot what's the paper name. I think it's something like introductory astronomy something. It's it offered as a single elective paper. But now the problem is during the time I'm going to graduation, I think this is during my last semester. It was during my last semester. So I already have no quota to like apply for this paper. So what I do is I decided to extend my study just to take this paper. Okay, so that was how crazy I was back then. So my mom was not very happy with that, but since I was not really in a urge to like graduate in time, so my mom just let me be. Okay, so I just told her that I want to improve. Yeah, my result was not very good. Indeed, it was not very good. Indeed, my university result was not very good. So yeah, I just told him that I want to improve my grades and all that. So I want to extend one more semester. But basically, the whole intention for me for my extension is to just to take this astronomy paper. Okay, so during that time, so I was like getting more and more active in the astronomy club. So we have regular activities where Dr. Chong taught us how to like take pictures, how to learn about the constellation and all that. We visit the Pantau Object, the Pusafala Shita Hill back then. Basically, I follow Dr. Chong everywhere.
That's you at the lower left corner, right?
Yes, that's my
I
younger
can
brother.
recognize
There was my younger brother.
younger
Okay,
and
so yeah, basically, other than the lecture times, I follow Dr. Chong everywhere.
right.
Okay, we go to the museum. We do all these spectral helioskop things. I think in the later year, in 2000, so after I graduated, so I graduated in 2004. Okay, during after I extended my 1 year study. So I graduated in 2004 and started working. So even though I started working, I still continue to join Dr. Chong. Okay, everywhere, we basically go everywhere, whatever. Whenever there's activity, I'll just follow him. Okay, you can see me be alongside Dr. Chong most of the time. So during that time in 2004, back then we don't really have an activity room under the astronomy club. At that time, this museum, they give us a small room behind the museum, which is, you can see the door on the right here. So this is actually a small room. I think previously it was a workshop or it's a storeroom, I'm not sure. But the museum gave it to Dr. Chong to be our activity room. So basically, whenever the night was clear, so I and Dr. Chong will come to this place. We do observation, we do imaging, okay, the moon, the planets and all that. So you can see this computer actually belonged to me. This old computer, I think it's a Pentium 3 back then. Okay, so when we had to build, back then we don't really have a laptop. Laptop was very expensive. Even computer was very expensive. So when we need to do observation, I have to bring my own computer. I think the one on the left should belong to Dr. Chong. Okay, the one on the right belong to me. And then this small legendary telescope, I think it's still with Dr. Chong until today. I think it's more than 40 years old telescope. It's a 4-inch Newtonian. So basically, what we do during that time, okay, when after work, so when the sky is clear, so I'll be going to USM to do observation. Okay, so this is a very young Dr. Chong. Okay, we do all kind of trick shot, crazy shot like this. Okay, the two bright thing you see here, the brightest one is the moon. Okay, I check back the sky. Then the one on his right hand is a Venus. So this is actually a conjunction of the Venus and the moon. So you can see Dr. Chong is still full of black hair back then. I think that time he was still like maybe 50 something, maybe near to 60 or so. Okay. And also we visit very frequently to the Pusat Falafel Sheikh Tahir. Back in the days, the Pusat Falafel Sheikh Tahir was not. It's quite run down. It was not well taken care of. Then somehow Dr. Chong was allowed to go to that place very frequently. So you can see here, okay, we have you see who is on the left here? On the right, sorry. Okay, is our Lighthawk. You know how old was he back then?
No idea.
If not mistaken, it's 15.
15, wow.
Yeah, he was still a secondary boy. Okay. So, and then inside the Pusat Falak Sheikh Tahir, the main telescope is a 12-inch mid SCT, but it's not functioning. So I think the circuit board was burned. So there was something wrong with the circuit board. So we can actually use it manually. Use it manually, slew manually to do observation. We actually go there quite frequently. Basically, I think actually back in those days, the weather was still very good. Unlike today, we have I think 80% of the day we have a cloudy day. But back then it was quite a lot of good weather night back then. I think so. I think every day, okay, after work, I finish work. Okay, if the weather is good, and Dr. Chong will just give me a call, say, okay, tonight we go to Pantai Aceh. Okay, so we go there very frequently, like maybe at least one or twice every week. Okay. So you imagine, okay, like I say just now, whenever we need to do observation, we have to bring our own computer and own telescope. Okay, because in Pantai Aceh, they only have the main telescope. I think they have a very old computer. I think it's not really functioning well. So you imagine every day after I finish work, I think I finish work at 5:30. So I reach home by 6 or so. So I had to unplug, I had to dismantle my computer. Then Dr. Chong will come to my house to pick me up. So we had to bring my telescope, and Dr. Chong will bring his telescope. I bring my computer, Dr. Chong will bring his telescope. We drive all the way to Pantai Aceh. So we have to carry these two things, computer and telescope, from here, from the ground, from the roadside, all the way up to the rooftop. Okay, if I'm not mistaken, I have counted the step before. It's about 60 steps.
Okay, good exercise.
60 steps of staircase. Basically, we have to go up 3 times, go down times, because one time we are going to carry the telescope, one time I'm going to carry my CPU, and another time I have to carry my monitor. Okay, the monitor is a SCT type, no CRT type. It's a CRT
Yeah.
type, like a bulky CRT type, not a flat screen,
Well,
not a laptop. Okay.
can you explain a bit what you use the computer for?
I think back then we do the imaging on the Jupiter. I still remember we do on Jupiter, Saturn, and sometimes the Moon. Not so much on deep sky. I think deep sky we use maybe Dr. Chong's camera also. But back then I don't own any telescope. I don't own any telescope. I don't own any cameras. So I can only bring my this computer there to do the imaging. Okay. So you imagine every day where I have to do the same thing. Okay. Dismantle my computer from home, bring it, load it into the car, drive to Bandar Aceh, go up 60 steps, one time, two times, three times, just to bring everything up. Then we stay there for imaging until like midnight, maybe 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock. Then again, 3 trips down, bring everything down to the car and go home.
So,
Okay.
so for those who are complaining about telescopes being too heavy, remember this story.
Yeah. So please be blessed that you have all these ultra thin notebooks nowadays, or
Right.
even your smartphone, your tablet. Okay. So I still remember, like I said just now, we usually will go to this place at least once or twice per week. I still remember the most number of time we ever visit this place is 4 times a week, 4 times in a week. I still remember at least there was 1 week that we go there 3 nights or 4 nights at least. So you imagine you have to do this every day after work, you're already very tired, come back, dismantle computer, repeat all the SOP again, carry thing, drive to Bandar Aceh, bring up, imaging, take picture, then dismantle, go back, sleep. Tomorrow work again. So you do this, imagine you do this 4 days a week. So that's why I was so slim back then.
Right, and that's the passion. Oh yeah, I just replied to William. He said you only carried it from inside. So I said that's why you are so thin back then. So that explains the photos.
Okay, so after so I still remember. Okay, let me check the following step. Okay, so during these 2 years, like 2000, I think starting late 2003, then 2004, 2005. During these 2-3 years, basically, is almost opposite of what my early days in university. Because I say the first 2.5 years, I was like mainly spend my time in the PPT. But during the following 2.5 years, I almost spend my 100% of my spare time in astronomy, following Dr. Chong everywhere, try to learn everything, learn how to use a telescope, learn how to use a star chart and everything. Okay, I still remember one famous quote from Dr. Chong. Okay, whenever Dr. Chong tried to bring me everywhere to meet people, like he always tell people one thing, that this Jin Teoh is learning at the speed of light. He always tell people that I was because I know that the time is counting, is a countdown, it's a countdown clock for me. So okay, at first it's all because I was graduating soon. Initially I was graduating soon,
Right.
and then I go into the working world. So I know I may not, and then with my result, with my university result, it's very unlikely for me to be able to further study into astronomy. So basically, I would say that by the time I graduated from USM, I more or less had given up my hope to be an astronomer, a professional astronomer, I would say, because I know my result was terrible, very terrible. And then with that result, it's very unlikely for me to get to be able to enroll in the master degrees. Yeah, so I slowly, like unwillingly, to change my path to be an amateur instead. Yeah, so that's why I stick with Dr. Chong and go everywhere with him. I try to learn as much as I can. Yeah, so that's why to Dr. Chong, he always tell people I was learning at the speed of light, because I learned so much during a very short period of time, like within 2 years' time. Okay.
This is where your acceptance to USM was like actually kind of quite an amazing turn of events, right?
Yes, that's one very critical turning point.
Yeah, you got to meet Dr. Chong.
Yeah, even though I continue my journey a little bit 2.5 years later than what I should,
Right.
but yeah, that's how it ended up to be happening back then. So yeah, it just so happened to be that way. But I would say that I can say it's quite lucky for me to be able to get back on track into astronomy, even though not in a professional way, but still I still be able to continue to pursue my interest in astronomy. Yeah, so very big thank to Dr. Chong, to be guiding me along the way since I joined him in 2003. And then in 2005, if I'm not mistaken, let me check back my timeline. Yeah, should be
Yeah.
2000. Yeah, should be 2005. So Dr. Chong told me about this program. He told me about this Swinburne Astronomy Online. It's actually a master degree. Actually, it's a multiple. It's a certificate, diploma, and master degree in astronomy offered by this Swinburne University of Technology in Australia. So they are offering this course as a distant learning, and the prerequisition is quite low. I would say quite low. Okay, they don't require you to have a degree in astronomy or in physics. You can just enroll with a degree in any field. I'm not sure about now, but back then, the minimum requirement is that you need to have a tertiary this qualification, any field, in any field. So
Right.
this become another good news for me, right? Yeah, because with my undergraduate result, I was basically hopeless to get into a proper master degree. But this offered me a chance because they don't care about your result. They don't care what you study before. It's basically almost like starting fresh. Okay,
Yeah.
so I actually I applied for this. I enrolled for it.
Yeah. But
The- yeah.
can I just mention quickly? So one of the fellow amateur astronomers we interviewed also before, Mr. Stay Funky,
Yes,
yeah, he,
funky.
he
Yeah,
he he went through this.
yeah. I think he enrolled later than me. Yeah,
Yeah, I think so. I think he
enrolled later
enrolled
than
after
me.
you.
But
I
he
think he enrolled
graduated.
late 2000s or maybe early 2010s or something.
Yeah, I think late
Sorry,
two
Funky,
thousand,
if you're
late two
listening, I
thousand. Yeah,
forgot. But yeah, he did enroll in this too. Yeah,
yeah. So back then actually the fee is quite expensive.
yeah.
If I'm actually it requires eight unit, 4 unit to get a certificate in astronomy, 8 unit to get a diploma in astronomy, and then 12 unit to get a master in astronomy. Okay, so it's a full coursework. Per unit, the fee is about 1,006 Malaysia ringgit.
Hmm.
1,006 ringgit Malaysia for one paper, and you need to get to 12 paper.
Hmm.
So just like I say, even though this sounds like a good opportunity for me to revive my dreams to be a professional astronomer, but again, sometimes mystery just struck. Yeah, I somehow didn't do well in the course. Yeah, I partially blame my work because after I enrolled into this course, I think during the second semester, there were some changes in my work, so which take up a lot of time and my energy. So basically, after work, I was so tired, I was so exhausted that I don't really have spent a lot of good effort into my studies. So actually, after failing the paper multiple times, I think I end up only enrolling for 4 semesters. I only managed to pass one paper. So I think instead of continue wasting money, burning the money, the hard-earned money of my family, so I say, okay, never mind. I'm going to quit. I'm going to drop out of this astronomy. So even though it's a waste of opportunity for me.
Can
Yeah.
can you
So I
share
think yeah.
can you share perhaps some of the challenges, like, other than like time? Is it like very involved or difficult or something, like from your perspective? What kind of challenges did you face with this SAO?
I think the biggest challenge is time. The biggest challenge is time
Mm,
because it's all on because it's a master degree.
yes.
So basically, the lecturer they don't treat you like small kid anymore. It's all
Mhm.
on your own. So it's up to you to like manage your own time. You have to look for your own reference. You have to look for your own information. Do on your own what we take the coursework or this work. So, and then back then, also part of the points are given in your we have some kind of like chat group, like forums. I think that time it's not a Yahoo group or whatever, I'm not sure, some group like that. So you have to participate, you have to ask questions, you have to answer questions, you have to interact very actively to get additional marks, okay, for your
Right.
paper. So to me, I feel that was very exhausting back then, okay, given my commitment in my work. So yeah, I quite regret I didn't put more effort into this. Otherwise, I might have been a professor by now.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah. So
there's still time.
yeah, that was what I told myself back then. So when I decided to discontinue my study, so I tell myself, so okay, since because that time is still like 2007 or 2008, so the opportunity to become a professional astronomer in Malaysia is still very few, not much opportunity in Malaysia. So I telling myself, yeah, even just like I comforting myself that even I continue, I may not get a good job in astronomy in Malaysia, and I cannot afford to go overseas. So yeah, I might just stop here for the time being. So maybe I start to save. I start to work for a few years, save some money. So in the future, when I'm ready again, I may want to re-enroll into this course. Not really like going to earn a degree for a living. Okay, not expecting that I'm going to have pursue a professional career in astronomy because of this master degree. Yeah, of course, now we know that with a master degree, you can hardly actually have a career anyway. You have to at least go to a PhD and postdoc, okay, after that.
Yes.
So I tell myself that, okay, eventually when I'm ready again financially and my time-wise ready again, I may consider re-enroll to this course again, just to pursue my own interest in astronomy, just as a hobby, not really to earn a living with a certificate, with a degree.
Very nice. Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, so at the same time, during about around this time, 2005, 2006, okay, I continue to join Dr. Chong's going everywhere. I think that time we started to have access to this Pulau Singa Besar and Langkawi. So I think we make at least one trip every year. Okay, so here you can see Waylon here.
Yes.
Okay, the
I
still very
recognize.
young chicken also. Yeah, and the floor here is a Terry. He's a, I think, manager. He manages the island. So we went to this island, I think, at least once a year to do it's a imaging trips. So we bring all these equipments. Okay, I don't own any equipment. I don't own a telescope. I don't own a cap. I think I end up buying a film camera from Jigen back then. It's a Yashica film camera. I think I bought from Jigen. So that is the first thing I bought. I think before that I bought a Teoh cam for the planetary imaging. So I still don't own any telescope. So all these telescope I borrow from someone. I think borrow from Chicken most likely.
Okay.
So you can see
Cool.
that after doing all the imaging, so they process the pictures taken during the night. So we usually spend about 2-3 days there. Okay.
Nice. Is it still a
And
is it
then
still a viable destination right now, like for astrophotography?
no, I think after we went there for a few years, I think until like 2007 or 2008, the bridge, I think the bridge collapsed. I'm not if
Oh,
I'm not if I remember
wow.
correctly, either it's a bridge collapse or there's a change of management, some political things going on, so we no longer have access. Okay, I think Terry was also no longer managing the place, so we lost the access to it. So we no longer go there. I think I only managed to go there at 2 or 3 times. Okay, so after that we are not going there anymore.
Okay.
So I think it was a time that I actually personally met Waylon, because Waylon was from KL.
Mhm.
So before that, I only know those people in Penang, like Sky Teoh, Chiken, Junket, Dr. Chong. Okay. So I think as well, around that time, 2005, 2004, that I get to know. Of course, I heard about Wei Lun because he was a very hardcore amateur back then. Like he was the leading astrophotographer back then. So when we do, like I say, when we do imaging in this Panta Aceh, Dr. Chong always mentioned, oh, Wei Lun, every time Wei Lun this, Wei Lun that, Wei Lun this, Wei Lun that. I said, wow, this Wei Lun is like a godlike figure. Who is him? So I eventually managed to meet him. Okay. So And then the next year in 2005, I checked back the previous talk by Dr. Chong. He mentioned about 2006, but I remember it was 2005. We had this first National Astronomy Convention of Malaysia. Okay, we held it in USM. It's a very, very big convention. We have a lot of these participants from all around the countries. Okay, we even have a Malaysian book of record of the number of the biggest star party. We have about 135 or 136 telescope on display on the night. So it was during this convention that I met more people from different places of the country. Like this, we have this KK Lui in the
Yeah, this
pictures.
KK Louis, I recognize.
Yeah, then I met Sufen, I met Bobby. Okay, all these people I have never met them before. I only heard their name through GK because GK was very close to the starfighters already back then. So the only people outside Penang I know was Waylon back then. So during this convention, I met all these people from around the countries. Okay, so basically after the year 2005, in 2006, there was I started to get into a header stage. I start to get, I think there are some further changes in my work. I changed job, I changed job, which I was into a shift work. So I don't really have much time to do astronomy. I no longer can follow Dr. Chong very frequently. So basically between the year 2006, 2007, 2008, 2009, even until 2010, I was not as active like before. So I still attend the activity from time to time, but not so regular, maybe like once or twice a month. Okay. So the next, like you say just now, the first turning point was my enrollment into USM. So which kind of like is the first stepping stone for me to get into astronomy. And then I would say maybe the second step was okay, when I eventually start to join Astronomy Club, USM Astronomy Club activity, so there's another turning point. So here comes the third turning point in 2011. So actually, I only started to get a little bit more active in 2009 and 2010 compared to the year earlier. So in 2011, so this one high school in Penang, the Heng Yi High School, they are actually building this observatory. So this observatory was designed and built by our Chun Ket, because Chun Ket has his own observatory and he has all this knowledge in construction of our observatory. So this observatory was designed and built by Chun Ket and then supplying all the equipment and all that. So I'm actually fortunate back then to be able to participate in the construction, setting up of the whole observatory. So Waylon was there, Teoh was there. This guy on the strap is Salvio Fong, the supplier of all this equipment from Hong Kong.
Oh.
Okay, we were setting up the observatories. Okay, you can see that I was actually slightly fatter at that time when I no longer had to carry the computer 60 steps a day.
CK Lim is saying that you got a hiatus in astronomy because you got a girlfriend.
No comment.
Okay, no comment. Yeah.
Okay, so this another turning point was coming in 2011 when they built this observatory. So I was able to participate. Then the key moment is that as soon as the observatory was built and completed, so suppose usually when Jun Ket was building observatory, he was the one who provide all the supporting services, all this maybe just help with the activity with the organization of the school or other institution. But unfortunately, during that year, if I remember correctly, I think within 2 or 3 months after the completion of the observatory, Jun Ket was heading to US. I'm not sure whether it's for a work trip or something. I think it's for work. I think he was still working in India back then. I'm not sure. Okay. So he was unable to provide the. Yes.
This telescope almost looks like a girlfriend. You look so happy.
Eventually is.
But that, yeah, that,
Yeah.
so that's a 9 inch, right?
So
That's a 9 inch telescope. Huh? Yeah.
yes, it's a 9 inch
Okay.
refractor. It's a 9 inch
Refractor.
refracting
Right.
telescope. It's the biggest refracting telescope in the country.
Wow.
Yeah. So due to
Okay.
CK's unavailability that time,
Yes.
so he asked for my help. He asked for my help because he know that I have some knowledge in astronomy after a few years following Dr. Chong's. Even during my short spell this in with this Swinburne course. So basically, by 2011, I more or less have all this basic knowledge about astronomy. So he asked for my help to provide the support to the school, okay, in place of him, okay, while he is away. So it was then I started to be a. So actually, the school had to have an astronomy club. The Hanging High School, they have an astronomy club. So
Mm.
other than providing the technical support on the observatory and telescope, I also be a coach to their astronomy club. So actually, the astronomy club of this Hanging High School, there is very historical. They have a very long history. I think they formed in 1985 or 86. Okay, so from time to time over the years, they have some activities on and off, but not on a very regular basis. So when I take over, not to say take over, when I start to be their coach back in 2011, so I start to help them to plan their activities. Okay, so I start to teach this astronomy, okay, to teach about all these theory things, okay, general knowledge. So I show them how to use a telescope, okay, let them have the chance to observe the sun, the night sky, okay, during their activities. So it was actually I'm still a coach for them until today. So to this year is actually the 10th anniversary. I become a coach to the society, to the
Wow.
club. So I would say it's a blessing for me. Okay, thanks to Jun Get. Okay, if not because of him going to US, I may not have a chance to to have a like a proper platform for me to like teaching astronomy to share my knowledge.
Yeah.
Okay, I may end up to be like just somebody alongside Dr. Chong. Yeah, so because of this chance opportunity, I become a coach, and also I have the chance to use the observatory from time to time when there was activities, when the sky is clear. So I have this. It's a very good platform for me. Actually, it's a very important platform for me to for me to be who I am today. So it actually further, I would say, allow me to be more confident, to like gain more knowledge. Because when you teach, you are actually learning at the same time. Okay, I
Yes.
always tell my students, if you want to know whether you have learned it, you try to teach it. Okay, so when I started to taking over to be a coach to them, I have no teaching experience at all. Okay, before I become a coach to the club, I have zero experience in teaching. I don't even dare to speak in front of people. If you ask me to give a talk in front of people, I will be very nervous. I will be stutter. Okay, but because of this opportunity, I have to like I have to be firm. I have to train myself up to be able to do what I'm supposed to do to guide the student. Of course, I also thank the school because they are very supportive. Okay, the students they are also very supportive. The teachers they are very supportive. So yeah, during the last 10 years, it was a great blessing for me to be able to with the schools, with the students, with the club for the last 10 years. Um, so let me see what's next. Okay, then yeah, also I also guided the students to do some projects, some small project, observation projects, and some hand-on projects. Like this is a it's an analemma project. It's a photography and also a shadow plotting projects. Okay, and then in 2013, Okay, actually before 2013, even though I think I joined, I started to use Facebook maybe in 2007 or 2010. I'm not sure. So, but back then I was not very active on this social media. So I mixed in terms of astronomy, I only like mixed with local people most of the time, like Wei Lun, Ji Kian, Jun Kiet, and all this. So it was not until 2013 that I came across this Facebook group. It's an astronomy group on Facebook. So I decided to join them. So back in 2013, there were still a very small group with I think maybe about 4,000 or 5,000 members. It's not a very big group. Okay, but after I joined this group, okay, I managed to make some friends, some international friends from all around the world. Okay, to share, to learn, okay, and learn and sharing at the same time. So I think because of uh, my experience, which I learned, like I say, during the time in university when I was PPT, I actually learned a lot in terms of this organization skill and all this social handling people and all this. So maybe because of this experience, and actually during my work also, I learned a lot of these things during my work. So when I joined this group, it was quite messy back then. It was quite a messy group with a lot of spammers, a lot of this unnecessary content. So I managed to like communicate with the admins. So I give them some advice. Like maybe we should try to do this. Maybe we can try to do that. So I think after a few months, so they actually invited me to be an admin of the groups. So I have this opportunity to work with international peoples, fellow astronomy enthusiasts from all around the world. I think we have about four admin back then, including myself. Okay, I think the two are from India. One is from US or UK. I thought it's Netherlands. And then Emily's. Okay, Emily's. I think she passed away a few years ago. So together working together with these people, so we actually managed to grow the group quite well. So I think, like I say, during the first year I joined in this group, we only have about like 5,000 members. Within 1 year, we grow to 100,000 members. Okay, just the next year, we grow to 1,100 members. And
That's
then,
very nice.
yeah, and then 2,000, 2,050, 300,000. Today, we have more than 350,000 members worldwide in this group. The last time I checked, it was the second largest group in terms related to astronomy. There's another one, I think it's called Cosmology and Astrophysics. That one, I think they have 500 over 1,000 members. So if not mistaken, this is by now the second largest group on Facebook for astronomy. So like I say, I through my experience in joining this group, interact with all these people, I managed to make some international friends. Okay, like Lawrence, okay, the Gary, Suhas. Okay.
So, I mean, I was actually very surprised to find out that you are the admin for this group because I saw that it's like a massive group on the internet. I thought that, somebody is like doing a lot of work, and I said, wow, Michael is actually a admin for this group, like, and I know him. So
during the first I think first 2 or 3 years, it was a very messy group. So and then because all the other admin, they are not on social media as frequent as I did, so they don't really check the group very frequently. So I basically I was the one who like checking every day, so dealing with all this administration work. So actually sometimes my wife will complain. Back then it was not my wife yet. Okay. Sorry, 2013, yes, I was married. So my wife was complaining me that I'm spending too much time on these Facebook things. And every day you see me is astronomy, every day is astronomy. Yeah, so I slowly like try to make the group better, easier to manage for everyone. So we eventually end up stabilized. So you imagine, as I actually check, most of this large group, okay, they have many admins. Even some smaller group with like maybe 50,000, 100,000 members, usually they will have like 7, 8, or even 10 admin, because of the same reason that not everyone is going to Facebook a lot during the time. So that's why they need different people to manage it. But until today, this group, Astronomy group, still only have 5 admin. It was 4 back then. So we add 1, I think last year. We add Gary last year. So we still managed to handle this group with only 5 admin. We handle 350,000 members. So I think we are doing quite well. Okay.
Yeah, that certainly is very good. Yeah. So, anything to share with kind of this, experience, like anything that you feel like inspired by this, or?
Yeah, of course. Like I say, when you start to get to know these international people, you will know that the world is so big. Okay?
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
different people, they know a lot more than you think you know.
Yes.
Okay, so different people, they are very good. So it actually opened up the whole new world for me. Before 2000, like I said, before 2013, I only just interact with the local group of people. So starting 2013, I try to expand my astronomy world to the international stage. Okay, get to know more people, make some friends. Okay, yeah. So that
Yes.
is a very, very good experience.
Okay.
Yeah. So okay, maybe we go next. Okay, it's getting late.
Yes.
Okay. So
Yeah.
in 2016, okay, I think 2015, Dr. Chong was retiring. So you remember over the years, Dr. Chong was doing most of the activity under the name of the USM Astronomy Club. So I think in 2015 or so, he's retiring. He's retiring from the USM as a lecturer. So after some discussion among our active members, okay, we decided to form this Astronomical Society of Penang, because we can no longer use the name of the USM Astronomy Club because Dr. Chong is no longer a USM lecturer. So we decided to form this society to continue doing what we think we should do over the years with a different names, but basically the same group of people. Okay,
So
so I was,
is it
I
is
was,
it a coincidence, by the way, in this logo that main group of stars you see is Orion? Like,
mm, actually, this logo was designed by Daim, okay, our Daim.
okay.
Okay, he designed the basically the overall concept about it. But
Mhm.
because I have a graphic background, because I work as a graphic designer, I was in the printing industry. Right? Like again, it's nothing to do with what I study. So I study physics. I'm interested in astronomy, but I am doing something else. So that's life.
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
so I actually just touch up to redraw the whole logo to graphically. Yeah. So actually the concept was by Daim. So because we are in the equatorial region, so we can see, like I say, we can see Orion most of the time, like not really most of the time, most of the year we can see Orion. So it's very representative. It's something very representative for us in Malaysia, in Penang especially. And then if you see there's a one small star at the bottom, lower
Yes.
bottom, that's actually meant to be Polaris. Because we can actually see Polaris from Penang. It's a
Yeah,
5 degree up.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so basically we have all these star trail like circles around the Polaris, rotate, orbiting around.
From Gurney, certainly I used when I was there, I
Yes,
see it on
yeah.
occasion. Yeah.
So then we have this Penang Bridge. Then the tree at the center is a Penang trees. It's an
Mm.
iconic trees of where the name of Penang, Pulau Penang come from. Then we
Yes.
have telescope. Yeah, so to represent our identity as a group of astronomers located in Penang. Yeah. So under the new form society, so I was one of the founding committee members. So together with Dr. Chong, back then we have Dr. Chong, me, Chun Kiet, Ji Kian, Daim, we have Tini, we have Lai Hawk, I think we have Chong Sing, we have Mr. To. Okay, we have all these people, the usual active members, like we have Lai. Okay, we will continue to do activities under the name of this Astronomical Study of Penang. In short, we call it ASP. So we have all this show, outreach program, activity. we had exhibitions. Yeah, so we also conducted courses. Okay, we have conducted courses for members and also for the public. Okay, we have workshops. Okay, we continue to do what we used to do, but just a different name. So we also have stargazing, okay, at Chunket Place. Okay, we have like a Gemini meteor shower, we have members night. Okay, so basically with the new identity of Astronomical Society of Penang (ASP), there are different way of doing what we used to do. Okay, we have to do it in a more organized way, with more responsibility because we have to maintain a society. Because back in the USM time, we can do a lot. It's a lot more easier to do under USM because of the places, the funding, and all that. And now that we are operating under a separate society, so we have to take care of all that. There are more responsibility. We have to do things more carefully. We have to plan it more carefully. Basically, what we do is what we used to do is the same. And then at the same time, I think in 2017, in year 2017, I was invited. Okay, so this is like something very related to like what we say is a fate or whatever destiny things. Okay, so one of my senior in PPT, remember PPT, the Persatuan Bahasa Tionghoa, okay, back in the day when I was the first few years of my university. So one of my senior, she was teaching in this school, Hualien High School in Taiping. So she know that I was interested in astronomy. She know that I was doing astronomy. So she actually invited me. She was teaching geography there. She was teaching geography. He was also the advisor of the geography club. So she invited me to teach astronomy to the students, okay, in Hualien High School. So at that time, other than Heng Yi, I was also teaching at Hualien at the same time. So I'm traveling there once a week now to Taiping. Okay. The same, I teach them general astronomy, but in Mandarin. So basically, I can teach in multiple language because of my background.
Nice.
Yeah. So and then
So
we also do some hand-on
Okay.
project craftings. Okay, we do some models. And then we also, because the school, unlike Heng Yi, they have their own observatory, so they can do all their activity well within their own schools, okay, in terms of observation, imaging, project, and classes, all that. But because this Hualien High School, they don't really have an observatory. So, and then because I can only go during their co-curricular time in the daytime, so it's very difficult for them to have a stargazing sessions. So what we do is we actually manage to organize a one-day astronomy camp at Chunket Place in Pulau Betong. So we spend one full day there. They come in the morning. Then we have some talks. We have watch some documentary. And then we have this planetarium show. Then at night we visited the observatory. We got to show them, okay, the observatory, the telescope, explaining how the telescope. Okay, we look at the stars, the planet. So this lady on the right is my senior, and she's the one who invited me to teach in the schools.
Okay.
So we see a lot of happy kids here. This is the next morning before dismiss. So we basically spend one whole day there. We spend overnight there. So okay, they are very happy with the camps. Yeah. So I only managed to teach them in 1 year because the following year my my senior, I think she stopped teaching there. Yeah, so there was change in a teacher managing the club, so I didn't continue to teach there. Okay, so that was about my teaching experience. I thought ongoing one is I'm still with Heng Yi anyway. So
Yes. But let's move on to the more interesting stuff now.
yeah, so
Not say more interesting, but more significant stuff. Especially like
I'm not sure whether I can say that it's a significant because apart from teaching astronomy, okay, I myself was also into this astrophotography.
right.
So I was learning from the early days, like when I first joining Dr. Chong, I don't even own a camera. Okay, I borrow a very simple point and shoot camera from my friends, okay, the friend who bring me into the club. So and then later on when I started to visit the Banda Aceh to do the imaging, so I eventually end up buying a imaging planetary imaging camera. This was a Teoh Cam Pro. And then during the time when we visit Pulau Singapura, I bought my first SLR. It's a film SLR camera. I think another few years from there, I think maybe 2007, 2008, I bought my first digital SLR. So along the year, I tried to learn about this astrophotography. Okay, I didn't do well in the early years. Okay, even when I used when I can be able to use the equipment in Hengi from time to time, I still don't really do well in astrophotography because I was still most of the time I was learning from like Waylon, from Chun Kiat. So and then in 2017, so it was a very important year for me because it was the first time that my photo get published, okay, in a printed media. So this is actually a coincidence. So I get to know a group of Penang photographers. So I joined them for regular like landscape photography, normal photography. So one of them, Rumen, he happened to know someone from this magazine. So they are actually publishing this, the 100th issue of this digital SLR photography magazine. So they are looking for 100 photos of different subject. So they are looking for one photo for a full moon. So then this friend of mine, Rumen, he was asking around, hey, anyone have a nice full moon photo? So I say, okay, I happen to have one. So I just submit this to them, and then they accepted it and end up printing it, publishing it. Okay, so this is my first ever published photos, astro photo, if you want to call it. So
Okay, very nice.
and then 2000, this was 2018. Sorry, not 17, 2018. Okay, and then the following year, 2019, nothing much. Okay, then 2020, there was a very very important event, like a very popular event. Is that at the end December of 2020, we have this great conjunction of Jupiter and Saturn. Okay, actually, before that, throughout the year, sometimes I do imaging the moon, the sun, and planet from time to time. Some deep sky objects. Okay, not really good at that. So during this 2020 great conjunction of Jupiter and Saturn, so it had been like people had been talking about this few months earlier because the conjunction was very close. I think the Jupiter and Saturn was within, I'm not sure, maybe half a degree or 1 point something degree.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, I can't remember.
Less than 1 degree. If not mistaken, it's less than 1 degree.
Certainly less than 1 degree, but
yeah.
Anyways.
So so during the year I was with this Hengi. So sometimes when the student they have time at night, we actually go back to the school to teach them how to do photography. So for this event, of course, we don't want to miss it. So before that, we actually have tried experience like the solar eclipse, partial solar eclipse before. Okay, this lunar eclipse before. So for this very special event, of course, we don't want to miss it. Okay, it's coincidentally it's a good view from us. Okay, we are able to see. Although actually the planet, both the planet was quite low. They are actually setting. They were actually setting by them. But after we check all that direction and all that, we are still able to observe it and even image it from the observatory. But unfortunately, eventually when the day has come, it was I think 21st of December 2020. So the much anticipated day has come. The whole world was crazy about this great conjunction. You can see everybody talking about it on Facebook, everywhere. The great conjunction of Jupiter. Okay, Fred Espenet was talking about it. Everyone is talking about it. Yeah, so the much anticipated. So on that day, it was cloudy. The forecast was cloudy. From the morning, okay, we already planned, we already get approval from the school to do observation. So we had planned with the student to go to the school, but it was cloudy in the morning, cloudy in the afternoon. So the student asked me, how, Teoh, do we want to go? I say, go, we must go. Because actually during our previous experience, like during the lunar eclipse, one of the lunar eclipse, I think the lunar eclipse started about like 7 something, 7:45 after sunset. So it was also cloudy before the maximum eclipse, but it happened to get suddenly clear up for a brief moment during the totality. So I tell the student, don't give up, okay? Don't give up. We must get ourselves prepared. Whether it will clear out or not is up to the sky, but we have to get ourselves prepared. So even though actually even by dinner time, so because the sun setting at 7:09 or 7:20 something, I'm not sure. So even by 6 o'clock, 6:30, it was still cloudy, totally cloudy. Okay, you cannot even see the sun. Okay, so I say, never mind, we still go there, we set up, we get ourselves ready. So just that when we thought there was no hope, so we can actually barely see the Jupiter from time to time. I mean, sometimes you can see it, sometimes you cannot see it. So we get our equipment ready, we get our camera, laptop all ready. So then miracle happens. About 7:40 or 7:45, just right before both the planet is going down the hill, the sky suddenly clear up. All of a sudden, before that, it was totally cloudy. So suddenly it cleared up. So we can start to see Jupiter and Saturn very clearly. So everybody got very excited. So the student, they are handling one telescope outside, while I'm handling the telescope inside, trying to do the imaging. So it's very brief. Actually brief. I think the duration of the clear sky is like last only like 15 or 20 minutes. After that, it get cloudy again. So it was during this very, very short time that we managed to get a picture of the conjunction. Very, very lucky. So this is the result. Okay, so okay, I see here the separation was a 6 arc minutes. Okay, 6 arc minute, 22
Right,
7
right.
arc second.
Yeah, William mentioned like 1/5 of a degree or something.
Yeah, so it was absolutely very, very. I think I'm not sure whether William managed to get any photos, okay, other place in Malaysia, but at least we are very lucky. Even though it has been cloudy the whole day up until the moment before the planet was setting, so we managed to get these photos, okay. So and then
Right. Very nice. Yeah.
then I submitted this photo to, because actually when during the later year, I think the recent few years, when I started to like be more confident in my photograph, I think that people like CK or Wilun, they always ask me to submit my photos to airport, because this airport, it was a very well-known website by NASA. They actually
Astronomy picture
features,
of the day,
yes,
right?
astronomy picture of the day. So they keep on asking me to submit a photo, but back then I'm not really have great confidence in my photos. But I actually submitted this photo to airport and other websites such as like Space Weather, Earth Sky, the Astronomy magazine, Sky and Telescope magazine. Okay, so it didn't make it to airport. Okay? It didn't make it to airport, but it was features on Earth Sky. It was features on this Space Weather. Yes, I think Space Weather. Yes.
Yeah, yeah. Space weather, certainly. I
Yeah.
remember seeing that.
So and then
Earth sky too, right? I think Earth sky,
what which one?
Earth sky was it?
Earth
Was it
Sky.
on
Yes,
Earth
Earth
sky
Sky
as
and
well? Or
Space Weather. I remember
yeah,
was
I'm
Earth
pretty
Sky and
sure
Space
space
Weather.
weather was Earth sky.
Yeah. And then I think after a few days, because I share this image on Facebook as usual. So after I took some photo, I share them on Facebook. So then I think after a few days, so there was one surprise came in. So there is one editor from a Finnish magazine. So this magazine is called I checked on the pronunciation. I hope I can pronounce it correctly. It's a Tadet Ya Avarus. Tadet Ya Avarus, okay, if I'm not mistaken. So it's a Finnish magazine. I mean, Finland is a magazine in Finland. So the editor contacted me, okay, asking me whether they can use my photos of the conjunction on their upcoming issue. I think they are publishing 4 issues per year. So the upcoming issue is for the first quarter of 2021. So he asked me for the permission to use. So I checked with the school. Okay. So I checked with the club, the teachers. Those they say okay, just go ahead. So this become my second published photos on the printed media, and this one is an international one. Okay, the previous one
Nice.
was a local magazine. Yeah, I remember it's a local magazine. So this one is a Finnish magazine. So this become my second published photos. And and then continue onwards, okay, in the early 2001, okay, after, because the Great Conjunction was December 2020. So after that, I continued to like take photos, okay, and then I came across this article. Someone mentioned about this Sirius. Okay, for your information or for the audience, Sirius is the brightest star in our night sky. So it's a very bright, but actually most of the time we see it as a single star. But actually Sirius is a double star. So it has a very small companion star called the Sirius B. So the Sirius B orbit Sirius A, one orbit is 50 years. So as you
It's a
can
white
see,
dwarf too, isn't it?
it's a white
It's a
dwarf.
white.
It's a white dwarf.
Yeah. So it's
So
a
most
explode.
yeah most of the time when you look through a telescope, you cannot see the Sirius B because the Sirius A was very bright. It will overwhelm the Sirius B. So if you don't you are not well trained for it, you cannot see the Sirius B. And another reason is that if you look at the diagram here, so Sirius B is in a elliptical orbit like this. So sometimes it's nearer to the Sirius A, sometimes it's further. So because of the overwhelming brightness of Sirius A, of course, when the Sirius B is furthest, you are easier to look for it. It's easier for you to see Sirius B when it's furthest away from the Sirius A, when the glare doesn't cover it that much. So to be able to see Sirius B clearly, you basically only have a few years time every 50 years. Okay, when the Sirius B come to this furthest part of the orbit. So actually, it reaches the furthest point next year. So when I came across this article about this Sirius B, I said, okay, maybe I should give it a try. So uh, I managed to take a picture of it successfully. Okay, so I'm not sure whether this was the first picture of Sirius B taken by anyone in Malaysia. So because like I said, the previous chance was 50 years ago.
Right.
Yeah, so I'm not sure whether 50 years ago there was anyone in Malaysia who have taken the image of Sirius B. But in recent year, so as I have checked with this Waylon, we are actually not sure whether there has been anyone have been imaging Sirius B
Right.
in recent years lah. But of course, you will have chance next year, actually anytime this year, next year, because now the Sirius is starting to come up again in the eastern sky.
Yes.
So basically, anytime this coming months until next year, it will be a very good chance for anyone who want to try to capture Sirius B.
Yes.
Yeah, for maybe for another 2-3 years coming, 2-3 years.
Yes.
Okay,
Certainly
and
worth the opportunity. Yeah.
yeah, so it's quite a challenge. Okay, okay. If you think it's easy, just go ahead and try it. So after I take the image, so I think William also tried to take it. So he was also successfully taken with his telescope. So hopefully, more people will be able to
I
take the
also
picture.
got it.
Okay, good.
Yeah. 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 I got just trying to toot my horn a bit.
Okay, so
Okay. But yeah. Anyways.
uh, so so we jump forward to June this year, early this year, June.
Yes.
So as we know that the sun, because over the few years, I think starting 2014, 2015, during the previous solar maximum, because our sun go through an 11-year cycle of activities. So sometimes it's very active, then after 5 years, it will go inactive, then another 5 years, it go active again. So during the early days, like around 2014, 15, 16, I actually took quite a lot of photos of this sunspot, and not very good photos of sunspot. And then the previous year it was in solar minimum. That means not much activity, not many sunspot. So and then starting late 2019, so it started to go into the next cycle 25. So going to the next solar maximum, we start to see some sunspot appearing. So 2020 there are more. Okay, maybe sometimes there are one sunspot per month, some sunspot every 2 months or so. And then this year it's getting more. It's getting even more sunspot. So I myself is particularly very interested in solar imaging. Yeah, so a big thanks also is a blessing for the equipment in Hengi Observatory also. Because like I say, I don't really own any equipment. Until today, I don't really own any telescope. I have never owned a telescope. Okay.
And yet you got a lot of credits for your work,
Yeah.
which is like truly achievement.
Okay, so over the first few months of the year, starting last year, so we started to see some large sunspot appearing from time to time. Okay, so and during this June 26th, there is one big sunspot, okay, sunspot group AR2 835 coming up. So as usual, because we know that sunspot will be rotating across the sun, across the surface of the sun, so it's the best time to image when it comes to the center, when it's facing us. So that's the best time to image the sunspot. So as soon as I notice, every day we are checking on the sunspot condition. So when I see the sunspot appearing, so every day, finger crossed, you say, okay, hopefully the weather will get clear, then I can have the chance to image it. So 27, 28, it was cloudy. 29, cloudy, raining. Then on the 30th of June, okay, 30th of June, I think that time the sunspot may have come across near the meridian. So that time, it was when I woke up in the morning, I checked the sunspot position, I checked the weather, I checked the sky. It was perfectly blue sky, very good weather. But unfortunately, I cannot go for the imaging because I'm not sure whether it's my wife working in the morning or there's something she has to attend to. So I cannot, because I had 2 kids by now. So I had to take care of the kids. So after waiting for a few days, so eventually on the 30th of June, when it's eventually cleared up, totally blue sky, no cloud, and the sunspot was well positioned. So I was feel so itchy to go to image this sunspot, but I cannot. So I have no choice. Okay, I cannot just leave my wife like that. So no choice. Even though it's the best position, even though it's a good sky, I had to stay home. Just miss the chance. Okay, and then the next day, 1st of July, again, I wake up. It's another blue sky. So I immediately asked my wife, "Can I go today?" She said, "Okay, today you can go." I say, "I must go today. If not, I will regret." Because nowadays the good sky is very, very, very rare. It's very, very rare for you to get a very good sky for imaging. So those kind of blue sky doesn't come by very often. So after missing the 30th of June, I say 1st of July, I must go. Otherwise, I will regret. So I managed to go and then take the photos of the sunspot. So this is the result. So this is by far my best photo of the sunspot I've ever taken in the last 10 years. Okay, so the weather was very good, the condition was very good, okay? Everything was so perfect. So I managed to take
the
a very
photographer is very skilled.
okay. Thanks for the
That's
compliment.
important too. I mean, not everyone can do that. So
Yeah, so I managed to take a very good result on the sunspot. Okay, it's a blessing. So again, I submitted this photo to multiple websites like airport as usual. Okay, actually I submitted my previous photos to airport, all didn't make it. So I take this image, I submitted it as well, submitted to Earth Sky, submitted to others like Space Weather. So eventually I make it to airport.
yes.
So it was a great surprise for me that after I submit the photo to airport, if not mistaken, it was during the same day. Because usually from my experience, because Wei Lun, I think you yourself and Wei Lun and Robin and Hui Che, before me, there were only 4 Malaysian who has been ever featured on airport. Okay, the first
Right,
being
right.
William, the
Yeah.
second is you, right? You
No,
or Hui
no,
Che
no.
first?
I
The
was the
second.
last one
You was the
before you.
last. So the second should
Yeah.
be Hui Che. Second should be Hui
Yeah, I
Che.
think it's
The
Hui
third,
Jie and then
the third
Robin
is
Lee.
Robin, and then the fourth is you. Yeah,
Yes.
that was how many years ago?
2018.
Yeah. So
Oh,
that so
so 3 years later,
before
we're
me,
back.
there was only 4 Malaysian in the past 30 years or so that have ever been featured on airport. So actually, of course, we every it's a I think it's a goal for most astrophotographer to be able to feature on airport.
Yes.
So that's the same for me. But of course, I know that my photo is most of the time is not good enough. Okay, because one thing
It,
I don't do a lot of deep sky imaging, and then for planetary imaging, it actually require a very good telescope and very good condition to be able to take a very good photo. So yeah, so actually it came out to a very big surprise for me that actually I have only started to submit to airport for the maybe last 1 month or so. Before that, I have never submit to airport. So I only submit because of the encouragement from Waylon, from you, from Junket. Okay, I started to submit my photo to airport. Okay, no news,
yeah.
always no news. So eventually, when this photo come out, okay, everybody say, "Oh, this must be it. This must be it." I say, "I'm not so sure, but just give it a try. Anyway, just submit it."
Yeah.
So to my great surprise, this photo, I think during the same day or the next day, the editor of the airport replied my email saying that they will use this photo for the next image of the astronomical picture of the day. So it was like another dreams come true, you know. So we have been everyone has been pursuing to be on airport for so many years. You say it's not easy. It's not easy. You can imagine over the past 30 years there have been we have so many talented astrophotographer in Malaysia, but over the 30 years there have been only four different Malaysian to be on airport. Okay, none of the four managed to get on for the second time. So you can imagine it's how hard it is to be get to have your photo features on airport. So it has to be a very special image. Because after that, I think I remember I have checked out the criteria for the selection. It has to be educational. I mean, it must be have some education information to because you if you look at the bottom there, the editor usually they will write a very brief explanation about the photos, explaining
Yes.
what the photo is about. Okay, so one is must be educational. Second thing, it must be a popular topic at the time. So for example, like previously when we had the Great Conjunction, so it's a hot topic. So it's very high chance if you get a nice photo, you get features. So actually during the Great Conjunction, many people thought I may have a chance to get features, but end up no.
Yes. Yes.
I think the
Yeah.
features photo
Thought you had to.
was
Yeah.
by Damien Beach. They
Yes.
picked the photos by Damien Beach.
That's very high level competition right there.
Yeah,
So
so
that yeah. But I mean, I just want to comment this when you are sharing your photos, Tom Polakis, who I totally respect as an amateur astronomer, he actually commented on your photos about how they're good with all the details. I remember
I
he was
think
talking
one
about
of the
prominence.
prominence photo, yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
prominence. And when I saw that, I say that, you know, it's just a matter of time before you get a pod because I can tell you that Tom is very, he's like at the top level. So, and he's been doing it for years, So with that kind of justification and recognition already, yeah. So I just wanted to mention it here as well.
Yeah,
That
it's a great honor. Like I say, I only started to get to know these international people in
yes,
considerably quite recent years. So actually, it's a great encouragement for me to get
yes.
recognition from these real professional people. Well, I'm not really professional at this. I'm not even as good as William. I'm not good as you
I
in
don't
yeah in
think that
certain
you
way.
should say that. You shouldn't say that. I think everyone's good at something,
Yeah.
and I think that what truly is a reoccurring theme here is like your growth, how your passion like drove you, and how all these very strange turning points, like USM, and then the USM Astronomy Club at the last year of your schooling, and
Yes.
the Hengyi Observatory and CK, giving opportunity and everything. I think that they all like come in and you were there, you were prepared.
Yeah, so that's why actually, but
Because you know,
every time I think back about this whole journey from the beginning, actually there are a lot of luckiness factors of luckiness. Okay, like everything like just happened at the right moment at the right time, and where I was there to be able to pick up
and
the
but and not
opportunity.
only that,
Yeah,
though, because you are, it also has your definitely important component is your knowledge, your skill, and your ability,
yeah.
because
Even like you
not
say
anyone
the
in the same
yeah,
situation.
even like you say the so-called knowledge and skill, it was still I was lucky to be able to learn from those master like William, like CK,
Dr.
like
Chong,
you. Okay, like in the knowledge
William.
wise, okay, I definitely learned a lot from Dr. Chong along the years. Okay, basically most of my knowledge, I think 80% of my knowledge come from Dr. Chong. I can say so. Like in the photography side, maybe most of them are from Jiken, from Junket, from you, from William, okay, Sky Teoh, and all these people. Yeah, so it's a great blessing for me to be able to have the opportunity to learn from all these people along the way.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and it's a blessing for
that's why
all of us that know you too.
that's why I say if
Yes.
you look back at the time when I was applying for the university, like I say, if something happened differently on that year, the whole story might be totally different.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm starting to wonder in an alternate parallel universe, like you got together with William Chin and you guys did something else.
Okay, so yeah, so I think we are getting late.
Yes.
So
Yes.
okay,
So
back
I
to the
think
photos. Okay. So after the surprising photos by this airport, so following this photo, as usual, I shared it on social media also, and then I get a comment from one of
yeah,
the
the ALPO,
professionals,
yes.
Richard. Yeah, Richard, he's a really dedicated, a very experienced solar imager. So he is also a member. Actually, he's one of the senior member. I think it's a committee, something a committee member of the ALPO. The ALPO actually is the Association of Lunar and Planetary Observers. So they have different sessions. As you can see here, they have solar session, Mercury session, Venus. They have different sessions for different objects. So he came across my image of the sunspot, and then he invited me to join them. So actually, before this, I have known about this ALPO. Yeah, I know about the organization because I think when I just listen to talks by the famous Christopher Gore and also Damien Beach, they actually have they
Mm,
also encourage people to submit their photos to ALPO because ALPO they are not just a typical organization for photo. They collected photo, they collected the data for this publication and also for research. Okay, they have their own this journal. Yeah, so they actually not just take the photos just for display or nice photos. So they actually do something with the photos. So Richard happened to come across my photo and he, because previously when I know about ALPO actually I know that their membership is a paid membership. So it's a paid membership, and also one reason is that I don't back then I still think my photos are not good enough be to be submitted to them. So until this recent airport photo on the sunspot, so Richard urged me to join them to, because they most of the time they only use photos submitted by members. Only
yes.
in special case they will use photo like those people like, I'm not sure whether Christopher Gore in Damien Beach is a member of them. I'm not sure about that.
Mhm.
So as I know, most of the time they use their own members' photo for their publication and journal. So he urged me to join the ALPO because he said he want to he's intended to use my photo for their next publication. Okay,
Yeah.
so after much consideration, okay, after discussing with my wife on the fees, and from further encouragement from you and William, so I eventually joined them as a member. So actually, most of them they are based in US. So there are some international members also from Italy, from Europe, from South American, everywhere. Their members are from everywhere.
Yeah.
So after I joined them, so I started to submit my photos to them. Okay, so if you are interested, you can actually go to their gallery, okay, and instead of looking for my name, because they use initial for the photographers. So my initial is this one is actually they said it, not I said it. So it's a MKTH. So
Okay.
so if you
Okay.
if you're interested to see what I have submitted to them, so you can go to the gallery and search for MKTH. Then it will show all my photos. Not many, okay, because I only submitted what I think is a best photo to them. Yeah. And if you are interested to follow more of my work, actually, I have recently just started to load my photos onto my Flickr account. Okay, I have had this Flickr account for quite some time, but I didn't really use it much. So, but most of the time I only upload my photos to Facebook. And we know that Facebook has a very awful resolution for image. The compression is very bad.
Yeah.
So in the past, I have uploaded to Astrobeam under the free account. But I think Astrobeam later, they have some technical problems where all the photos are gone. And then when they relaunch the website, they have some limitation, which I didn't continue to submit to Astrobeam. And then I started to recently I started to submit my upload my photos to my Astrobeam Flickr. Okay, so if you want to look
Right.
for more of my photos, if you think Facebook is not good enough, most of my photos will be on Facebook. So you can either follow me on Facebook or my Instagram. Okay, I also just started using Instagram recently, even though Instagram has been so hot, so popular over the years, but I actually only started to use Instagram, I think, since last year or so. So you can also follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and then, or if you just want to look for my astro photos, you can follow me on Flickr. Okay. So I think
Okay. I'm gonna share the URL
yeah.
and link down
Okay, so
for
I think
everyone.
that's all until today. So that's basically my whole story from the beginning.
Okay.
The Orion, the crab, okay, not the Orion, not the Orion, the hunter, but Orion, the crab,
Yep.
until what I have been doing today. So yeah, wow, it took 1.5. Oh, it took 2 hours for me to tell
Yes,
my
we took
story.
two
Oh
hours,
my
but
god.
I think it's very good sharing because, uh, in there there's a lot of stories, and no matter what, people we will have this recorded on
Okay, I think I share my
YouTube. And
screen first.
so,
Yeah.
yeah, so I think that it's a very good sharing, no matter what. Uh, Thank you for making yourself available for being interviewed and to share, your experiences. You've done. Actually, from just joining from the side. I see that you've done so much for the Astronomical Society of Penang too, and you're an extremely knowledgeable individual. Since I actually got to know you and meet you for that comment, so
I think I
yeah,
only met you
yes.
less than 10 times, I think.
2012.
Less than 10
2012.
times. I think I met you,
And
I
less
think
than
like
10 times. Yeah.
once for the comment. I think later on I don't met you for bird photography. I think maybe 1 time or 2 times.
For a while until we went to Anjong Indah for the
Yeah.
lunar eclipse. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, and maybe some other things. Yeah. My daughter's birthday stuff. Yeah. So, but anyways, thank you again. And I think that this is probably a good point to end the interview today. So, again, thanks for sharing your story and life in astronomy. And for every one of the listeners who actually managed to survive the 2 hours,
Yeah. Very
action packed
appreciate.
2 hours,
We still have 16 on
action
Facebook.
packed 2 hours. Yes, action packed
I think most of them
astronomy.
are my friends supporting me. Yeah,
Well,
actually, I usually try to keep low profile behind the screen. I'm not used to be in front
yes,
of the
and that's
cameras.
why I insist I have to interview you. So I
Yeah.
want to bring you out to let everyone know.
I'm not used to this. Like I
Yes.
say, even in the past, I don't like to speak in front of people until the opportunity to be to in
Right.
Hengyi train me up to be more comfortable speaking. But still, I try not to be in front of the screen.
But this is a good interview.
Yeah,
So yeah,
thanks for
it's a
the
good one.
opportunity. Because I think not many people really know about my story because
Yes, and I think it needs to be shared because that it's you bring in a unique angle situation. You know, your path is also unique, and you had the determination in your story. When I listened to your story before the interview here, you know, I just sense that there's someone with this passion that just want to pursue astronomy, and then now you've, you know, reached, you know, the astronomical picture of the day, ALPO, you know, being invited to contribute photos. Those are truly deserving honors. So, all right, thank you very much,
Yeah.
everyone, for listening in. And
Okay.
yeah, anything else you want to add, Michael, before we end the interview here?
I think no. Okay.
Not very much. Okay.
Yeah,
So
so
yeah,
maybe just some word for, I'm not sure whether my students are listening or there are some young people listening or not. So actually, I always feel that because if you look back at my own adventures along the way, so from my own initial ambitions to be an astronomer, to end up not being able to be an astronomer, but somehow still survive, still remain on track to pursue my own interests. So actually, for anyone out there, whether you are still a student or you are adult or you are whatever, whoever who have a dream in something, may not be astronomy, maybe you have passion in something else that you may not think, I no longer have the chance to do it. Yeah, so keep your dream alive. Okay? You never know what will happen anytime. So like I myself, I went astray for so many times. I go the sideway, I go off the track so many times, but eventually those opportunity, those very precious opportunity, bring me back in, and yeah, you just have to be ready for it. You just have to
yes,
be ready for it. So just keep your passion going on. So just be ready anytime. Like for example, like the imaging, like even just as recent as last year, I think last year the Gemini meteor shower, okay, like it's the same thing. It's the same thing. It's been cloudy whole day. Okay, cloudy in the evening. We plan for open observation. Not many people come because everybody say, okay, raining, cloudy, nothing to see. Yeah, it's even raining in at night. But it eventually opened up, clear up after midnight. So basically, after 3 o'clock, we see a few hundred meteor. So just when everybody think there's nothing to see, it has been cloudy, raining for like 7 8 hours for the night. But at the last moment, you can see. So same like with my conjunction photo, it has been cloudy whole night, whole day. But just for that very brief moment, when the opportunity come, you have to be there to grab it. Yeah,
yes,
so yeah, it's actually this kind of thing happened multiple times along my journey. So I really consider myself to be very, very lucky along the way to have all this opportunity to meet the right people, to learn from the right people. Yeah, so whoever who still have a dream to chase, who still have a passion in what they want to do, yeah, just embrace your dream, embrace your passion. Yeah, like you say just now, how much you gain in return depends on how much effort you put in, and how much effort you put in also depends on how determined you are in chasing the dreams. Yeah. So when you look at people's night
yes,
photo, you ask yourself, what are you doing when people are taking photos? Yeah. So like when you see people, so just like I ask myself, when I look at my fellow friends in astronomy, USM, oh, they like Daim, like Mas, okay, they end up doing a master, like Hong Xuan, Lai, they are doing master, may eventually end up PhD and have a professional career. So I ask myself, so yes, they are on the path where I used to dream of, but in the past, did I actually put enough effort into pursuing such career? I say no. I would say no. I didn't put enough effort into it. So I end up didn't manage to go to the path I want. But I was lucky enough to have a totally different path, but still remain in the field of astronomy. So there's a very, very great blessing to me, I say.
yes, yes,
Yeah.
certainly. Okay,
Yeah.
I think yeah, that's a very good lesson for anyone who is like wanting to do astronomy. Certainly be prepared and be ready and be Be good at it.
The first thing you have to fight the cloud.
Yes.
Be ready to fight the
Yes.
cloud.
Or invent a cloudbuster. Okay, so I think that's end the interview, and thank you to all the audience, and we'll see you again in the next month's Astro Chat. So we certainly hope that you gain a lot from Michael's journey here, and take care, everyone. See you all.
Okay, thank you. Good night, everyone. Thanks for joining me. Thanks for spending the 2 hours for me, listening to an old man telling old stories. Okay, thanks everyone.